Go.
All right, hello everybody. It is another week, another WXR Wrestling X-Pound Radio, and joining us today for the weekend wrestling is James Phoenix,
Yellow.
Marcus Shadow.
Hello, and it should be noted, Richter is over here today, which is why he might sound a little bit different.
Yes.
And we're not sharing the same square or circle.
Indeed.
Whenever I talk, his will light up. So
It's also why, unfortunately, being next to Marcus is why Richter sounds slightly less bald.
Oh, Richter, come on! Oh, Richter, come on! Every time you speak, we all light up.
Light it up, light it up, light it up, light it up.
And as you heard there, we have also Chris, a.k.a. The Mole.
Oh, thank you.
And maybe occasionally chiming in, we also have the Queen of Hearts.
Hey everyone.
The sex appeal of UXR just went up 10 notches.
And no, you did it wrong, Jim. She's a guest character, which means you meant to applaud, and the audience is supposed to whoop.
Okay.
Whoop! Like you recognize them. Whoop!
Woo!
All right, so as usual, we'll go through Raw, then SmackDown if anybody watched it, then Main Event, then NXT and Total Divas, and then we will end on the news and rumors and all that stuff. So
Mo would like to interject. There is no NXT this week because during the recording of NXT, something happened with my satellite box. It was unable to pick it up, and the next repeat is tomorrow.
All right. Well, Raw, I'd like to apologize to our listeners in case you're hearing any background noise because Richter's over here this week. We're on the built-in mic on my laptop, and I happen to have my fan on because it's humid as shit over here. You might pick that up. But all right.
Don't you have central air?
Nope. I wish.
I could have sworn you said you had central air one, but well, buy an air conditioner, you cheap bastard.
Yes, Monday Night Raw.
It's Jericho!
Fuck you. We kick off with the Ayatollah of Rock and Rolla.
I just said that.
But anyway, we start off with him because he apparently was going to have a highlight reel with special guest Randy Orton. And he came out, said some stuff, pretty much, regular Jericho stuff, and then was about to introduce Orton when, behold the King of Kings.
The
Triple H walks out with Orton, Kane, and Rollins in tow, all in suits, which prompted me to, at the time, I was on Skype with the Mole, to turn to Mole and say, wait, is this the new Evolution? I'm like, wait, they're all in suits, what the hell? So they come out, and Jericho starts to berate them. Kane is about to interject, but Triple H grabs the mic, and he's like, no, I got this. And Triple H proceeds to say that he had been doing some thinking, and he came to the conclusion that perhaps having John Cena fight Brock Lesnar for the title again at Night of Champions is indeed not best for business. To which Jericho comes back and is like, okay, so who are you going to have, go for the title? And that's the cue for the other lackeys behind Triple H to take the mic and start talking about why they deserve the title shot. Then Jericho chimes in, he's like, or how about me? Cue John Cena coming down saying, what the fuck do you think you guys are doing? I'm going to beat Brock Lesnar's ass.
And pointing out the same thing I pointed out before Cena came out.
What's that?
Triple H was legally obligated based on WWE rules and registrations because of the rematch clause.
Yeah.
You can't say he's doing his rematch clause and then say, no, we're not going to allow that. That's breach of contract. And we've already had enough storylines featuring lawyers.
Yeah, no kidding. But then Roman Reigns is mentioned as being the only other guy who maybe should get a shot, aside from Cena. Cue Reigns coming down. Cue Reigns basically saying, well, let's see. I beat Randy Orton last week, and Seth, are you still pissed off about me trying to throw a brick at your face? Which I thought was awesome. And so Triple H makes a match, a 6-man tag match main event of Jericho, Cena, and Reigns taking on Orton, Citizen Kane, and Seth Rollins. He's like, impress me, and you might get a title shot.
Did he make it a match for you?
Yes.
Okay.
Effectively, yes. And I will say that several recaps that I saw online did use the meme picture of Teddy Long making it a tag team match.
He lives on in spirit.
And
He
Triple H.
does. Also, if I could just interject, Marcus, I believe you forgot to mention that Kane mentioned that when he puts on a certain mask, he could take down the Beast Incarnate.
Yeah. He was like,
And then
mask
he put
that-
on a green mask and started to spin round.
Exactly.
It's like I have this mask that turns me into a demon, and I take down the Beast Incarnate. Which, again, prompted me to once again turn to the mole and say, yes, this is the same mask that basically when he had it on, he sucked so much, he got his ass beat to the point that he had to take it off and give up the powers.
Yes.
Yes, he really can take on Brock. Sure, Kane.
It should also be mentioned at the point that Randy Orton was going off about why he should about the fact that he didn't actually get his one-on-one title rematch at WrestleMania. Jericho took the opportunity to point out that he's had 1,000 title matches since then and has been successful a total of precisely never.
No.
True.
It's also worth pointing out, in my opinion at least, they missed off on a royal opportunity.
What's that?
And I don't mean royal as a pun, before anyone thinks that. They just missed off on a big opportunity because they had Kane there talk about putting on the bat mask and going after Brock. They should have done like they mentioned when Brock was literally on Raw, like the next night or two, or was rumored to be there or whatever after ending the streak. Shouldn't Kane have also pointed out, and I want revenge for my brother, like he did with Stephanie, which would have got a cheap pop from the crowd, but also would have made people think, oh, Kane's pissed with Brock. He stands a chance. This is pissed Kane. This is Kane with a personal vendetta, not doing it because manager says so, which would make him more of a threat.
Yeah, they
didn't do that.
Yeah, this would be come down and rip the door off a cell, Kane.
Yeah, that's gotta be Kane.
Exactly.
Not, wait, is that Kane in a suit?
Yeah, Citizen Kane, what?
Yeah. I would also like to note you guys can interject during this whole thing because I would assume that WWE.com did not write in the bits between like any promos and stuff, so I'll probably miss that. But
again, this is why I go with a blow for blow dirt sheet recap.
And again, you probably shouldn't be pointing that out on the air when we're claiming these are our own thoughts and opinions.
well, it's our thoughts and opinions.
I know, but
We're just using that for illicit
dirt sheets that say their own thoughts and opinions.
Well, we don't read their thoughts and opinions. We just read what happened on the show and then offer ours. We're just using it as a list of everything that happened on the show because they're pretty good at blow for blow listing what happened on the show.
And since when does WWE have an opinion?
Since it always will interject like, oh, every face that uses a weapon is defending themselves and every heel is a murdering son of a bitch.
True.
Pretty much.
They're not exactly unbiased.
That too, yes. But yes, we move on to our first match of the night. Cesaro and The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler and Sheamus. And The Miz comes down with his personal makeup artist, who is an up-and-coming diva.
She was an independent wrestler, actually.
But I thought she was actually... Well, she obviously works for them, but yeah.
No, they hire independent wrestlers for on-off a lot of times for one night to come out and do stuff. That's who do you think the Rosebuds are? They're a bunch of independent wrestlers they hire for the night.
I thought, according to you, when you read off LOL dirt sheets, they'd stop doing that due to budget restraints.
No, they stopped flying NXT dudes out to be the Rosebuds due to budget constraints. It started using independent dudes.
Also, I would assume for the character of makeup artist, they would want someone recurring, so it'd be the same makeup artist every week. But then again, it's WWE; they don't care about continuity.
No, I believe they said the makeup artist was actually just an independent wrestler. I think.
Yeah. Plus, they might have different makeup artists. It depends on the location, like actors use. So it'd be silly, but I wish she'd become a character.
But yeah, he came out with her and his stunt double Damien Mizdow. So apparently, permanent gimmick now, at least for the foreseeable future.
Yes, the Mega Artist is independent female wrestler Sarah Crazy Mary Dobson Bridges. So yes, independent wrestler.
Fair enough.
And next week it'll be Damien Sandow in a wig.
Yes.
That'd be
Yes.
awesome. But
And
yeah,
I still say when WWE's throwing tag teams together, I think Rick may agree with this. We need a new tag team put together. We need Mark Henry to go back to being sexual chocolate. We need to team him with Roman Reigns and give us Chocolate Rain.
There you go.
Yeah.
Chocolate Rain.
Rain.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd love that. And I even know a song that'd be perfect for their entrance.
wow. But yes, Miz and who was this taking? Miz and Cesaro win after Miz goes to sit down in his actor's chair at ringside and tells Sandow to go get in the ring. And Sandow tosses off his robe, show he's wearing his wrestling gear, gets up on the ropes, tries to get in the ring. The ref won't let him. He eventually does get having the ring, and the ref's like, no, you're not the Miz, you can't wrestle. To which Ziggler grabs him, zigzags him, and then the Miz slides in behind him and delivers a skull-crushing finale for the win.
Yep.
I have to say, I do love Damien Mizdow, whatever he's called. I do like the fact they've settled on one gimmick, and we all know eventually this is probably going to lead to Miz versus Sandow, because one of them will turn on the other one inevitably.
Pretty much.
Hope so. All right, so moving on.
Moving on.
To the east side.
We have Naomi, Summer Rae, and Layla versus Eva Marie, Rosa Mendez, and Cameron.
Marcus Shadow, before you go any further, I will just mention, we don't need to talk about these because they weren't all that entertaining, but in between these two matches, there was the first of a series of segments called Growing Up Bella, which was basically a series of things from the Bella's childhood and then Nikki Bella talking shit about her sister.
To be fair, they were interesting.
Yeah.
As I mentioned to Marcus on the night, I found them to be the most interesting part of the entire night.
Apparently WWE didn't.
Because they actually felt real, if that makes sense. And to be fair, WWE did, or they just recapped the matches and stuff, and as Marcus mentioned, they don't mention most of the promos and stuff.
Fair enough.
Yeah, but yeah, this was basically the Divas piss break match because it ended in a no contest. All out brawl, blah blah blah. Total.
It was still fun.
It was okay. Also, I'd like to point out, Jim, didn't you mention at the last WXR that Naomi wasn't going to be there?
Supposedly, according to the Lowell dirt sheets, Naomi had a small orbital fracture from when Oksana accidentally kneed her in the freaking eye, but had to have some kind of a procedure for it. So either A, she already had it, or B, it wasn't serious enough to keep her out of the ring, and she's going to have it later.
Fair
Which
enough.
means, again, lol, dirt sheets wrong.
Nobody ever said they were always right.
You normally claim they are.
No, I claim that they say things. I never claim that the things they say are right. But yes, continue, Marcus.
For kicking Mark Henry.
Oh, okay.
So we go on to Big Show and Mark Henry versus the Wyatt family, with the Wyatt family winning via disqualification when Rusev interferes and super kicks Mark Henry in the face.
That was a shit match.
That was a shit match.
Although, a positive note, it should be noted that during the course of this match, the crowd was chanting sexual chocolate.
Nice.
And the Monday after WrestleMania, they all chanted Macho Man when Randy Orton was in the ring. I don't think he's coming back.
Oh, fairness, it's easier to come back when it's a gimmick and you're not dead.
They could always hire Black Macho Man from TNA.
So,
Hire Chamber Chief.
I'll
Are you telling me you wouldn't have marked out, like when CM Punk was wrestling doing the elbow drop, if Macho Man's music had played, he'd come out and started to feud with him for daring to use his elbow drop? I'm claiming to be Macho Man.
That would have been A, hilarious, and B, offensive as shit.
storyline of the year.
Would it have been more or less offensive than Big Boss Man towing Big Show's daddy's coffin away as he coffin surfed through the cemetery?
True. True.
Or more or less offensive than, I believe it was Tim White, or whatever he was called, constantly trying to kill himself every week.
True. Also true. And let us also not forget Triple H molesting a corpse.
Or more or less offensive when those racist bastards gave the Asian guy a 20 dong salute the one week he couldn't make it. Oh, wait. That was us.
Oops.
For you guys, I'm going home.
To be fair, I'm not racist. Some of my best friends are white.
Yeah, like.
Oh, where is that guy?
He's still around. But yes, then they move on to something I didn't really find particularly interesting, but I feel needs to be mentioned because it continues the main feud. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Paul Heyman, and I'm going to blab, blab, blab about Brock Lesnar because I have to.
Yes. Also, part 2 of Growing Up Bella was just before this, just to mention it.
Fair enough. Yes, General Heel Lesnar promo talking about emasculating Cena, blah blah blah. We get the picture.
Well,
Yeah.
can I point out, like, I was having a conversation with someone yesterday or the day before about the Brock Lesnar thing. As I pointed out, I actually love how Brock's being built up. Because some people have complained he wasn't there every week, like The Rock and stuff. But like I said, the fact Brock's not there every week means we don't have to do the inevitable parts where the face actually looks strong during the weeks, which means he looks like an intimidating, unstoppable force to the likes of which I don't think we've had anyone in WWE look, not in terms of in the ring be good or anything, but I'm saying in terms of how he's built, I don't think we've ever had anyone this unstoppable in WWE before, who was able to end the streak, able to keep John Cena from ever getting back up that week and stuff. It's like, I don't think we've had someone built up as this unstoppable, which I like how they're building them up, and I like not using Brock every week and using Paul Heyman to sell Brock, but at least that's my opinion.
I agree with that.
I kind of agree with that. But now we move on to one of my favorite parts of the night. We had Jack Swagger versus Curtis Axel. The match was okay. Swagger wins via
Squash.
law. But the reason why this is my favorite part of the night is because in the middle of the match, Bo Dallas comes walking out to the stage with 3 raised chairs and 3 members of the public and has them sit down. And then after the match, he proceeds to cut a promo on Swagger talking about, I was disappointed when you lost to Rusev. You let down not only me, but, and the WWE, but the WWE Universe. And I just happen to have 3 members of said WWE Universe up on stage with me, and I am now going to recount their stories for you, Swagger, to make you feel bad. So I was like, that's brilliant.
Yeah, and the whole loss of a nation and stuff. Like, my favourite one of those was the woman who bet all of her money on him winning, then lost and was in massive debt that was going to hurt her and her family, so she went double or nothing, and he lost again.
I love the woman whose son, his favorite wrestler was Jack Swagger, and then when Swagger lost, her son now idolizes Vladimir Putin.
Yep. And I like it. I just love it. Bo Dallas is doing that big smile with that punchable face. It's just wonderful.
You just gotta believe.
Yep. And he had the 3 fans stand up, place their hands over their hearts, and say in a loud, clear voice, "All you have to do is believe."
Yeah. That was a brilliant bit. I love that.
It is. Does anyone else sort of get the impression during that bit, at least possibly, that what's his name, Zach Colton, or whatever the fuck he's called, the little guy with the mustache? Does anyone get the idea that he may actually join Bo Dallas at some point?
Maybe.
Because during the segment when it kept cutting to the ring, he was stood next to Jack Swagger, and he kept looking at Swagger and just putting his head down, disappointed, and putting his head down with all these news. And with how he's so meant to be pro-America, it would make such a great heel turn for, well, not heel turn, what sort of heel turn, if he was to turn around and say, yeah, Swagger, I'm pro-America, and you let America down, fuck you, and goes to Bo Dallas.
Ah.
But I kind of don't want that to happen because then he'd be Bo Dallas's mouthpiece, and I like the punchable mouthpiece he already has.
Yeah, Bo Dallas doesn't need a mouthpiece.
Yeah.
Moving along.
And this match led to probably one of the funniest thing I saw the whole night. Adam Rose versus Titus O'Neil, and Adam Rose wins. But the funny thing is, Titus O'Neil came out with his new tag team partner. Well, kind of. He's tagged with him like once or twice before. They're pretty good together. Wendy!
Actually, they've been tagging regularly on Main Event and Superstars and SmackDown, going by the name of Slater and Gator.
Fair enough. But yes, so Slater is out there, and during the course of the match, as Victor can see on the screen, he gets his ass kicked by the Bunny.
I did see that on YouTube.
That was hilarious. And then Rose and the Bunny grab Wendy and ram him headfirst into the steel steps.
Yep. Heath Slater does not have luck when it comes to mascotted managers.
No, he doesn't.
First he had the Marcus-sized Minotaur, and now he's got the Bunny. What's he gonna go up? What's he gonna have next? The Gobbledygooker and a few of them?
Ah.
Although I'm gonna call it right now, if the Bunny does not win the Royal Rumble this year, James Phoenix will donate $1 million to ALS.
No.
Or do the Ice Bucket Challenge.
Yes,
It's canon.
He attempts the Ice Bucket Challenge and inadvertently douses his own powers.
Yeah.
It's canon. It was said on the air. It was canon.
But yes, then we move on to Rusev puts Zack Ryder out of his misery. It literally was, no, just Ryder go home. But the reason I mention this is because after the match, Mark Henry comes out and declares that he's going to open an international wing of the Hall of Pain and induct Rusev.
Yep. And it should be mentioned, I didn't put this on the news list for later, but it's been indicated on the Lowell dirt sheets that Zack Ryder is basically being punished on TV because he's making some anti-WWE comments on his Twitter that they're not happy about. They said that he's, I believe they referenced that he's getting quote JTG'd, end quote.
Nah.
I wonder why. I wonder why he'd be making anti-WWE comments when your first thing is, wait, he's anti-WWE with some of these comments? Let's hurt him more. Yeah. And it's like, no, that's not a good way of doing stuff.
No.
Although I will also say, with the Mark Henry thing, I kind of semi-face-palmed with his International Hall of Pain. Because he's already taken out people like Rey Mysterio when he was a heel doing the Hall of Pain. He fought Sheamus during it, and a lot of other people. He should already have an international wing. He's been against foreigners. What the hell?
There is logic in what you're saying.
Indeed. Well, then we move on to probably Mole's favorite part of the night, and it was very good. It's probably the best feud we have going in WWE, in my opinion. We have Stephanie McMahon marching out to the ring, saying she has a surprise for Nikki Bella, and calls out Nikki Bella, who comes out. Who you can look, but you can't touch, because that's her theme song now, apparently.
I will say this was not Mole's favourite. The complete opposite. This was one of my worst segments of the night. Probably the worst.
I thought you liked the segment. My bad.
I didn't because of the ending.
Fair enough. But yeah, so Nikki comes out, and Stephanie is like, I have a surprise for you. I'm naming you as the #1 contender for the Divas title, and you're going to have a Divas Championship match at Night of Champions. At which point, who comes out first?
Isn't it Brie?
Brie comes out first, and Brie is like, why are you doing this, Nikki? Is this all about, is this what it's really come down to? And Stephanie tries to intervene, but Nikki, or Brie kind of pushes out of the way. He's like, no, this is between us. Don't you dare get in the way. And, so Brie's like, we need to go talk about this, is this really what it's come down to? Is this really what it's all about? It's all about the title. Is this really all you want? And Nikki, because throughout the whole night they've been doing the growing up Bella thing, which I thought was great. She was like, "No, it's always been all about you, Brie, but not anymore. Now it's going to be all about me," and blah 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 that. And Brie gets all sad, and then light it up, light it up, light it up, light it up. AJ comes out and is like, "No, hold it! I'm the #1 contender here. What's going on? You know, Stephanie taking away my #1 contendership. You kind of can't do that." And then Paige comes down and she says, and I love the line that she uses. She's like, "You know, all this talk about the Divas Championship, the only thing missing is the bloody Divas Champion." You know, and I'm just like, that's actually a really good line. I like that. And so the four of them are out there going back and forth about the title stuff. And AJ and Paige step back behind Nikki while Brie tries to talk to her some more. And Nikki steps forward and is like, "You know what? Tell you what, Brie, I will forgive you under one condition: quit. Just leave and never come back. You know, it's do the one thing that you know how to do the best. Just quit and leave." You know, she's like, "You know, leave me alone. You know, you abandoned me. You blah blah blah." And Brie turns and she's about to leave. She puts the mic down. She's about to leave. She stops at the ropes and thinks about it. Then turns around and I'm not exactly sure what she does to Nikki. She like hits like, I don't know, she like blowhammer her or something. She does like a swipe at her, which knocks her back right into Paige, knocking them both down. And which of course knocks the title out of Paige's hand. Then AJ leans down, picks up the title. Of course, Brie leaves at that point. She just turns around, walks off crying, leaving the other four women in the ring. AJ picks up the title, kind of looks at it, kind of smiles, and makes like she's about to walk off with it. And Stephanie stands in her way. She gets in her way, and she's like, "AJ, give that to me right now." And AJ just kind of looks up at her, kind of smiles, like impishly, hands her the title, and skips off. That's pretty much what happened there.
Yep, it's like I said, I liked the segment up until the point where they basically, in terms of the male division, as people like to say, John Cena did.
Uh-huh.
We had a great story going of Brie versus Stephanie and stuff, and they've turned it all about AJ. And the end result of that was AJ skipping away and everyone looking on like AJ's the only one that mattered. And I'm like, oh, stop revolving the entire fucking women's division around her. It was more interesting when you stopped doing that.
Yeah, I agree. Jim?
Also, like I said, I didn't see most of Raw, but I feel like it was an effective way to kind of tie Nikki Bella into the Divas title feud. I'm not sure it was necessary, but given how big the Bella thing has been, I can see why they would want to involve the title. So, we'll see how that goes. I will mention one relevant thing that was mentioned, that when Nikki came out to the ring, and then when Brie came out after her, because they had the same theme music as Brie was coming out, Stephanie got on the mic and was like, no, cut that music. No, from now on, that music is reserved for Nikki. You don't get to use it anymore.
Oh, that's right.
So presumably Brie will be getting some new theme music to differentiate between the two.
Yep. Which, yeah, like I said, I just didn't like that change, because before I see them thrown in a multi-person match, I want to see Nikki v Brie as a one-on-one match. That's how this feud's been built up.
That would be nice.
I feel like doing all this and revolving it all around AJ again just seems, I don't know, I just like, oh, it's gone back to that again, okay.
Now you know why I hated it when AJ showed back up with the title off page. The first time I was like, no, you're
yeah,
seeing...
which like I said though, the first time I could understand it at first because we needed Paige v AJ again, so that it could settle, as you kept commenting every week until AJ returned. If we never saw Paige beat AJ cleanly, she hasn't done shit to deserve that title. We got the matchup that showed her earn it, which is great. But we had a separate Diva feud, which was great. Putting them both together means now the Diva's airtime has effectively been halved to make revolve it all around one Diva again. Oh, I don't like that.
I agree. What do you think?
Yeah.
That's all you have to say is yeah.
I don't think it makes sense to merge them, but if they're gonna do it, I guess they'll do it. Sounds like they had it, like, oh look, they're separate, and then like, oh, let's just merge them together because we don't give a shit. Like, no, but you're gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
You just shake your fist at them.
All right, so that brings us to a feud that's actually growing on me. It's actually starting to interest me, and that's the Dust Brothers, or the Rhodes family, versus the Usos. And this made me go, huh, because the two teams come out, and apparently they did this on the previous SmackDown. I don't watch SmackDown, but Goldust gets a mic and he's like, hold on a minute. We want to apologize for what happened last week on Raw. He's sitting here trying to apologize, and the Usos just rush him. At which point I kind of went, huh? I was like, wait, so are the Usos heel? And then the match proceeded, and then at the end of the match, of course, the Dust Brothers viciously attacked the Usos. Goldust, it actually was Goldust versus Jimmy Uso was the match. Goldust wins that match, but then they assault the Usos. So it's like, wait, who's the heel and who's the face here?
Yep.
I don't know what you guys thought about that match, but
like I said to you, I didn't mind who's the heel and who's the face part of it, because like I said at the time, it was more like a heated argument. It's like, I don't know, like back in the day, if you had The Rock v Austin, let's say, The Rock was a complete heel, you wouldn't be surprised if it built up with the rivalry of the next week Austin smacking him in the back of the head with a pipe. It's like, sometimes in WWE when rivalries get that heated, the lines get blurred on who's the villain and who's the good guy in terms of how they act, because it's so personal. And I think that's what they're going for, because it seems like the Dust Brothers tried to end one of the Usos' careers, that they've taken it personally and they've gone out of their unka chaka, I can't stop this feeling entrance that they do. Yeah, the entrance that they do, and basically turning it into, we're gonna get you now. This is Sparta. No, but you know what I mean. It seems like it's more real, because let's face facts. Like, let's say you were playing WWE 2K14 and you're a face. Last week, heel Randy Orton cost you your match. What's your response going to be the next week? How would you act? You're gonna try and take him out. You want your revenge.
true. Fair enough.
Also, just as a note, before this match, there was a small promo for Bray Wyatt announcing that he's going to destroy Jericho in a cage match next week.
Yeah, what was up with that? Then, was it Triple H or stuff? One of them announced that Chris Jericho will have this cage match against Bray Wyatt next week to continue their feud. I'm like, really? Is that necessary? I thought the feud was over.
And I have to say, that may be the greatest response for me personally that you've done yet, Marcus. At least I don't know if anyone else got that. Jim mentioned it and you went, yeah, what's up with that? It sounded so like, what are you talking about, Willis? It's like, but when did you suddenly get possessed by Gary Coleman?
I don't think he was possessed by Gary Coleman. I think he was possessed by the Hurricane.
Yeah. Yeah, it just sounded like, it was like, okay, that sounded weird, but cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, seriously, I was like, oh, that made me facepalm when they announced that on Raw. I was like, why?
Mm-hmm.
My guess is it'll be the same reason they had a cage match with Daniel Bryan. Something's gonna happen within this cage match, in which their feud will continue because the result of this match was not clean.
Yes, I mean, a cage is going to keep everybody out. It's not like the Wyatts can just turn the lights off and magically appear in the ring or anything.
No, I'm saying, why do they have this need to continue that feud? The feud was finished. It's over. Give Bray Wyatt someone else.
Well,
Yeah, they should have moved Jericho on.
Yeah, well, come Night of Champions, after Night of Champions, Jericho's going back on tour. So they're just going to have it. I think they're probably going to have there's going to be some kind of a match where Jericho, they'll have this cage match, and Jericho might get hurt, and then Wyatt will hurt him some more at Night of Champions, and then he'll be gone.
Yeah, I still said the other one would have been better for this.
What's that?
I understand WWE wouldn't do this, but I'd mentioned this to Marcus. What I would have done with WWE, if it's true and Jericho definitely is leaving after, like, literally the night after Night of Champions, I would have rested Cena a month to sell his injuries with Brock, so he doesn't do his rematch clause till the month afterwards. Have Jericho get given the #1 contendership against Brock, and have Brock destroy Jericho to the point where he doesn't come back. Boom! Suddenly Jericho's injury or Jericho leaving seems like, whoa, what the hell did Brock do? And it just work. And you could also see Jericho and Paul Heyman having some great promos promoting that.
Yeah.
I actually want to see that. Jericho Heyman promos.
Yeah, I don't know. I never liked the Bray Wyatt Jericho feud, to be honest. I really never liked that feud, and it's just like.
Yeah, I didn't, because it felt like it should have been a Miz feud.
Yeah, I agree.
It started off poorly and it's ending poorly, and the bit in the middle wasn't exactly great. This is probably one of Jericho's worst feuds.
Yeah, poor Jericho. I guess it's just proof that Triple H hates his guts.
But I don't know what Jim thinks about either A, my Brock idea, or B, this feud in general.
Your Brock idea was a good idea. It would have made a lot of sense. And given that Jericho is a well-known, talented superstar who's been around a long time, that would have given Brock some credence. Plus, if Jericho could have spent the whole time talking up the fact that he beat The Rock and Austin in the same match to become the first ever undisputed champion, which would have been a great way for Brock to, again, he destroys him, he gets all that credence. And at the same time, the Jericho-Bray Wyatt feud, the purpose is they wanted to use Jericho the way they normally do, to put over a young new superstar, but the problem is Bray Wyatt was already over. He didn't need Jericho, and they did it anyway.
Yeah. And if anything, by putting him with Jericho, it killed his momentum.
Yeah. If anything, if they were going to bring Jericho back, Jericho should have had a feud with Bo Dallas.
Yeah, that would have been amazing.
That would have been amazing, and although I will say I do want one thing to happen on Raw, which will never happen. I want Jericho to wrestle in the cage match while still wearing his jacket, so when the lights go out, you can tell where he is. Because it's just his silhouette of his jacket fighting.
There you go.
That'd be awesome.
All of a sudden you see the jacket run forward and do a flip in the air, like, oh, he did a lion salt.
Yeah, but how awesome would it be as well, for the purpose of the feud, if you see the lights go out and you see the jacket light up, like it doesn't light up at first, but it lights up eventually, like Jericho has to turn it on, and then you just see the jacket on the floor and everyone beating the shit out of it, lights come on, Jericho's left the cage and he put the jacket on Bray.
Nice.
I don't know why, that would just amuse the shit out of me, like, wait, so the other Wyatt's just beat the shit out of him thinking he was Jericho? That's awesome. But I don't know if that would be ridiculous or not.
That'd be hilarious. And it would be a lot better than any other crap WWE can come up with.
Yep. But I know, what do you think, Jimmy? Because you're oddly quiet during the Jericho bit.
Jimson. We lost Jim.
We lost Jim, okay.
I'm sorry, the thing went muted. Sorry. I must have hit it accidentally.
Yes, Jericho, speak.
Yeah, well... Okay, what about Jericho? I mean, I think he did...
We want to know what I said with the jacket.
Oh, yeah. No, I said that would have been hilarious. And I think the crowd would have popped huge for that.
Alright.
Yeah, because I feel that's something they haven't used Jericho for properly in this one. I mean, this might just be me, but since Jericho's returned this time and last time-ish, or last time kind of did it on one of the feuds, where's the Jericho that used to play mind games with people? I mean, yeah, he wasn't like Undertaker mind games, because that's not his type of character, but he had an element to Jericho back in the day that was almost like the cerebral assassin, like Triple H's Edge, where you know he sometimes had a master plan or something up his sleeves. They seem to have lost that element and just he's more like a caricature of, hey, I'm gonna smile and go ever, then get my ass kicked.
He's a caricature of the Fonz?
Yeah. If the Fonz said ever.
He says half of it.
Mm-hmm.
Hey!
Ver.
Yeah.
Against
Yeah, but
Jackie.
I don't know. How does James feel about Jericho's return?
This particular one, I mean, I was always waiting to see Jericho come back because he does a great job of putting over the younger superstars, which they have a lot of guys that can't do that all that well or won't do that all that well. Jericho, but not Jericho, Cena. Sorry, talking about Jericho. But I think it's great to see that. But I think in this instance, it didn't work because Bray Wyatt was already over. And well, was it also when it first happened and the Wyatts came out during that Jericho promo and said, "Oh, Wyatt's Jericho, this could be good." I feel like it hasn't worked because their styles are so different. Because the Wyatts had that whole mystical coming out thing, and Jericho, he cuts more direct promos. And well, I just feel like I think it's because Bray Wyatt was already over, and I feel like what he's doing for this feud is still there's not a lot new to work with, and I feel like Jericho is being. Jericho normally cuts some pretty good promos, but I feel like, when they did that thing where the Authority came out, he was doing better promos on the Authority than he did on Bray Wyatt. I think the biggest problem with the Bray Wyatt Jericho thing is it's way too damn serious. And Bray Wyatt is supposed to be ridiculous and over the top, and normally Bray Wyatt is the one that's ridiculous and over the top, and he's against somebody who is serious. And the problem is Jericho can do serious, but only when he's a heel. Jericho serious as a face doesn't fucking work.
Yeah, I think the other thing, too, is, okay, you have Jericho versus Wyatt. Then you have Jericho cutting promos on the Authority. Now take a look at who's in the Authority. Jericho knows 3/4 of the Authority. He's got a lot of material to work with.
He does.
That's true, too.
Bray Wyatt, he's got material.
Although, based on this, could I possibly suggest, for the future, a new idea for WXR standalone specials, which won't affect the weekly product?
Sure.
Like, let's say Jericho disappears after Night of Champions, like the Raw or the Raw after that, or whatever, if we record like straight after Raw or during the next weekend, like just before this one or something, if Rick wants to join us or whatever, why don't we just review Jericho's return, and like next time The Rock returns, we can do it for The Rock. Around WrestleMania, we can do it for Undertaker. If Austin returns, we do it for Austin, because they're our favourites. Let's keep reviewing their returns.
Can we do it
And
for
see what
Sting?
could have been done, and see what could have been done differently, how we felt about this return, the matches, and so forth.
That could be fun. Yeah, that'll be good.
That'd be cool.
Okay, we'll plan that out. But yes,
Yeah.
Marcus, would you like to wrap that up?
Yeah,
For
but
Raw.
let me just finish on my thought here of going back to what you were saying, Jim. Because Bray Wyatt's already been established and he's already over, that even cuts Jericho's material even more, because now he doesn't even have the fact that Wyatt is new and a rookie, because he's not. He's established at this point, so it's like, what material does Jericho really have? And especially, like you said, when their styles clash so differently. It's like,
See,
hung out to dry at that point.
I would kind of disagree slightly, just because I think Bray Wyatt Jericho could have had awesome promos. They've just done it wrong. It seems more generic. However, with Bray Wyatt's character, he's more like, and I don't mean exactly before people say that, but do you remember when Jericho feuded with Masked Kane?
Okay.
That's what the feud should have been like. Yeah, that feud started with Jericho spilling a cup of coffee on Kane, but resulted in a fucking awesome feud. Why couldn't it have been like that? Why couldn't we have got the awesome feud of Bray Wyatt doing the mysterious stuff, Jericho being really arrogantly cocky in terms of how he was done? Because this one just feels like Jericho's there. It doesn't feel like they're using him to his potential, if that makes sense.
Exactly, yeah. They're not. They're really not.
Like, I had no problem with Jericho coming back and feuding with someone that's established. Like, I'm sorry, one of my favourite Jericho feuds in recent years has been CM Punk.
That was a good feud.
But I don't know, what does our host think? Our wonderful, wonderful host.
I I like Jericho, but sometimes I wonder why he comes back. Like I don't. It seems the upper people don't like him. I think he does it to be nice, but like they never treat him very well. And I'm like, why does he keep? He's like, he's the abused girlfriend. He just keeps coming back. I don't know. I like seeing him, but I always like he comes back, and I'm like, why?
When you said why does he keep coming back and all that, I was actually thinking, yeah, he's like the wives that have been beaten and then just keep going back to their husbands in case they change. Poor
He goes-
Jericho.
He's like, maybe Triple H got better. He comes back, he's like, God, this guy.
Maybe Triple H got better. There's Triple H. I've changed now. You have? Yeah. Now I'm not going to bury you.
This
I'm
is
going to
it.
have someone else do it. As he disappears in like a smoke bomb.
Like, I've changed, Jericho. Oh, yeah, really? And how have you changed, Hunter? In charge. Oh, for fuck's sake.
Now have you changed? I've cut my hair.
There you go.
Mole,
Jim?
am I the only one that now that you're mentioning this wants to see Triple H come out singing the Saddam Hussein "I Can Change" song from the South Park movie?
Yeah. I just kind of want Triple H to get a new gimmick-ish. Or Kane. Kane would work better for this, just because he's with the Authority. Every time we get a shit match, or every time we get an outcome we don't want, I want Kane to appear on the Titantron doing a troll face and just going, "You mad, bro?"
There you go.
Like he's actually like trolling the WWE universe. Like let's stop pretending it's for the WWE universe. Why not go full out? Why not actually have a manager that fucking hates the WWE universe and wants to troll them? That'd be
Yeah.
amazing.
That'd be awesome.
Like
Yeah.
this week we have a surprising return to the ring, coming down the aisle. Come on out, and out comes The Rock. And Triple H is like, would you people like to see The Rock wrestle live at WrestleMania? And everyone cheers. You've got it. At WrestleMania, The Rock will main event against Heath Slater. You mad, bro? And just walks off. I just think that would be wonderful because we've had managers do the wrong thing before because they want to do it for their own motivations. I want to see a WWE manager almost Vince Russo it intentionally.
There you go.
I'm pretty sure that during the SmackDown days, Vicky Guerrero was on the border. Because she basically said, "I don't give a shit. I'm here to use my powers for my family to make Edge and who the fuck was in the family with him? Edge and Chavo and all my people. I'm here to make them look good. I don't give a shit about you."
But that would go into the category of, like I said, like Vince or Triple H and stuff. Of they may not care what the WWE universe thinks, but they're doing it to fuel themselves. How about a manager that's there because they don't want to fuel anything with their friends or anything? They just want to piss off the universe. They don't even care if you're heel or face. They're gonna piss you off.
Fair enough.
Could be interesting.
It'd be
Like
awesome.
I could totally see a manager doing that and being like, I don't know, here you go, we're returning to the ring right now, Bret the Hitman Hart, and the guy referees himself and screw jobs him again.
Wow.
I don't know. At least that's a thought I want. I want a manager that's a troll. It'd be wonderful.
That'd be interesting. But yes, let's go ahead and wrap this up with the main event. That triple threat match we talked about an hour ago. Of which face team wins. This match was interesting. I don't know if it was intentional, but during the bulk of the match, Cena didn't get tagged in, and the way that Jericho and Reigns was doing it, it almost seemed like they were intentionally not tagging Cena in because they didn't want him in. And it might have been part of the way Cena was selling it. Yeah, Shock of Shocks, he actually sold something. Where because they would kind of like zooming on him because he would want to get the tag in and he wouldn't get the tag. And he'd kind of do that face of like, what? Why are you tagging me in? Kind of thing. But I don't know if that was intentional, the whole, yeah, we're not tagging you in, Cena, because we fucking hate you, or what it was. But it was kind of interesting they did that. And eventually Jericho does tag Cena in. He comes in lays waste to people, does the attitude adjustment on Kane while looking directly at Triple H. And then he tags in Reigns, slides out of the ring as Reigns delivers the spear to Kane 1, 2, 3. And basically, Cena goes right up to Triple H, looks him right in the face, and he's like, "How about that, huh, Hunter? Did you like that? Was that proof enough for you?" And then after the match, Rollins tries to sneak attack Cena, who, without taking his eyes off Triple H, deflects the attack, picks Rollins up on his shoulders, and attitude adjustments him on the table, which doesn't break.
Yep.
And it should be mentioned that while Cena didn't, Rollins did sell the hell out of that.
Yeah, I have to admit that was kind of awesome. But that's how Raw went off the air.
Yep. It's also worth noting, as I mentioned before, I really wish Roman Reigns would swap his finisher and signature. The Superman punch should be the finisher. It's unique to him. It looks cooler. And I'm sorry, whenever he does the spear, it's not as good as Edge or Goldberg. It's
No, it's
good.
not.
It's better than Batista. But it's not as good as Goldberg. And I don't even like Goldberg. It's not as good as Goldberg or Edge's.
Right.
Or Rhinos, if you want to go with the gore. Props to our host. I wanted to get a cheap pop from our host.
Mhm.
Fair enough, but back over to the host.
All right, so that was Raw. Did anyone watch SmackDown?
Nobody watches SmackDown.
Main event.
Alrighty. I did not actually get to see main event, but from the sounds of it, nothing much happened. But there are two relevant things that I want to mention. I have the thing up here. Okay. So main event opened with a segment of Miz TV.
So it's worth pointing out, I think we've lost the Queen of Hearts.
Oh,
Yeah,
dear.
her battery died.
Okay. Fair enough. Well,
No.
main event opened with a segment of Miz TV with special guest Dolph Ziggler.
Okay.
But unfortunately, The Miz couldn't make it, so his stunt double Damian Mizdow was hosting.
Okay.
So basically, Sandow came out and asked where Miz was, and Sandow basically talks about that he deserves an Intercontinental title match because he's Miz's stunt double. And Ziggler points out that, well, you're basically The Miz. Well, I have a title defense against The Miz and I'm a champion, so that match is official, and you technically have the match. So Sandow tried to attack him, he avoided it. They had a match. Ziggler won with a zigzag. There was a Cena promo for Cena to be on SmackDown. The Dust Brusters beat the Matadores again. And the most important thing that happened on main event, and Marcus already knows this, is that there was a Divas match featuring Summer Rae and Layla, because Layla's apparently face with Summer Rae now. I knew they started teaming up. I didn't realize Layla fully face turned. I guess she did. But they took on Natalya and Rosa Mendez.
Okay.
So they had this match. Summer Rae and Layla won after Layla kicked Rosa in the freaking head. But I showed you the clip, Marcus. You know where I'm going with this.
I know where you're going with this.
So during the course of the match, there was a segment of the match where Eva Mendes got thrown over the top rope and was on the apron, and Layla came around.
Rosa Mendez.
Rosa Mendes, sorry, Eva Mendes, Rosa Mendes. Wrong person. Anyway, Rosa Mendes was on the apron, and Layla came around from the left side of the ring. Camera guy is by the announce table, so the side of the ring that the camera is normally on when you're watching the match. So Layla comes around, and apparently the intent was she was going to pull Rosa Mendes off the apron and throw her onto the floor, which is fair enough. Unfortunately, I don't know if Rosa held on, or if Layla pulled too hard, or what the hell happened. But what actually ended up happening was Layla grabbed hold of Rosa Mendes and instead just ripped her tights down and exposed her ass directly to the camera and the crowd.
Nice ass, I have to say.
And that's the one main event you didn't watch.
I know. Figures.
Insert a sexuality joke here.
Now. But yeah, so
Yep.
There you
You
go.
effectively gymmed it when you should have been cueing the clip.
All right. But yeah, so the camera cut for a couple of seconds to black for a second or two, and then cut back after Rosa was on the floor and had composed herself. But not quick enough that the clip, that a few seconds of Rosa's ass did not make it on the air. I do not know whether it is on the recorded WWE Network version or if they edited it out, but the clip was shown in the live version, and there is a GIF available on the internet if anybody would like to go find it up
They
yourself.
should leave it in. they'd get a lot of $9.99 per month subscriptions.
There
Yep, I'd buy that for $1.
you go.
You could see her ass for only $9.99 a month.
There you
wait.
go.
And wait, she basically exposes her ass, and WWE is going to censor it. That's racist because she happens to be Mexican. Stephanie McMahon comes out with her ass in a suit every week, and they always show him.
Ah, nice.
Thank
Very
you.
nice.
Thank you.
But yeah, so that happened, and this is the problem with this loose ring gear they're wearing. Because let us not forget that it was earlier this week or last week when Natalya with her nice giant boob window had her own wardrobe malfunction. So maybe we're not in the Attitude Era. Maybe it's time the Divas start not wearing clothes that they fall out of. Just saying.
Again, insert asexual joke here.
I'm not saying it's not enjoyable. I'm just saying that it embarrasses the poor women.
It does. And I also actually approve of WWE giving the Divas more of a wrestling attire than a look that a sexy look.
Yeah, I agree.
Which they had got better at that. It seems recently they seem to be sort of doing a hybrid, which doesn't work.
Not really.
I don't like the boob window. Well, I like the boob window. It's worth noting I do like the boob window, but I don't think Natalya should have the boob window because she doesn't need it. She's fucking Natalya.
Yeah, the boob window is hot, but it's impractical.
As is Tyson Kidd.
Oh!
I'm sorry.
Wow.
I'm sorry.
Okay, well that's it for main event. Except not much happened. Like I said, Summer Rae and Layla won the match after Layla kicked Rosa in the head and got a pinfall, and Dust Brusters beat the Matadores. So.
All right. So, as you heard earlier, there's no NXT stuff. Any Total Divas news you want to talk about, Mo?
I did like Total Divas this week. It was a weird episode. It was three stories, but they were so unlike the other ones where they're standalone stories. They're actually really intertwined, if you will, to a degree where they haven't done that much on the show so far, but still. We started off with, and even the start, the little opening thing actually ties into the first one I'm going to go with. JoJo was totally checking out Justin Gabriel. Then we have a random Jericho appearance in which he shows up and goes, you like him, don't you? You find him cute, As she's walking away, he's like, and it's just Jericho doing the troll grin as she's walking away, which is wonderful. And then the opening happened.
You mean WWE actually used Jericho right for once?
They did. But basically, since it's a few seasons old, it's his old jacket. Because they still got the shitty scratch logo, but still.
Yeah. Well.
So, yeah, it's 2 seasons ago, I think. But, yeah. So this is season 1. But, yeah. JoJo, I'm going to go into JoJo's story first because it tied in with the beginning. JoJo gets closer with Justin Gabriel. Eve Marie is worried that JoJo is not ready yet. JoJo and Eva, even have a housewarming party. JoJo gets bronzed up, that's a thing, and the Total Divas and their men show up. They talk about going to Vegas. I'm going to leave you with that because more on that little tidbit later. Just let that settle. The Funkadactyls basically smack one of the Usos in the head, which was awesome. It was in a montage of the highlights of the party. We had the girl talk about the Funkadactyls dating an older man, and she warns JoJo Justin Gabriel's older because she's only 19 and older men aren't worth crap. Sorry, Marcus. She actually, and that wasn't me talking, she actually looked at the camera and said, sorry, Marcus.
Wow.
But JoJo and Justin then go on a date.
Not going to.
And JoJo and Justin go on a date. Justin orders wine and then mocks JoJo for being underage and not being able to get wine.
Wow.
And she orders a salad and says, I'm going to keep this salad because it's going to be food for my rabbit later. And Justin Gabriel's like, what? I want to feed my rabbit. And then she shows him her rabbit. None of this is an innuendo. She shows him her rabbit. and on her phone, and he just looks at the camera while looking back, almost like a Zach Morrison Saved by the Bell moment of the fuck's going on here, and looks back and is like, oh yeah, it's a rabbit. And Jojo seems happy with him. That's nice, isn't it? Then Jojo gets mad when Justin's talking to another girl by the pool. Eve Marie acts like a big sister for her, and actually takes her out, which is kind of cool. They go out when Justin's kind of said, I'm too busy to go out with you, blah, 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 blah. They go out and they see Justin Gabriel with another woman. He then leaves with the other woman.
Oh.
I know, poor Jojo. Jojo's actually in tears and is really upset with Eva. He then confuses Jojo later on in this story by sitting next to him being really flirtatious. And she says, look, you're confusing me. What the fuck's going on here? And he's like, the age gap's too big. Sorry, I'm not into people with an age gap this big. I'm not going to insert the joke. I'm so tempted to because I promised I won't. And hi Jim. And she's hurt again because she said she hates that reason. So that was the end of the JoJo one, which yeah, that was kind of sad. Poor JoJo. Your thoughts on the JoJo story?
I don't know. It sounds like I was doing the sound effect because I just pictured it like a sitcom. When you said it's like Zach Morrison looking at the camera, like what is going on, and then just it's like I just picture they see him with the other girl, and you just hear the audience being like, ooh.
Yeah. Ooh. But yeah, I didn't like that. I felt sorry for poor JoJo. I mean, she broke up with her other boyfriend a few weeks back. She's finally found love again. She got a concussion, not from the love, but she got a concussion the other week, and now this with Justin Gabriel. I don't know. He felt tactless. What was that, Rick?
How old is Justin Gabriel?
I don't know. I just know he's older than 19. All they stated was he was older and she was 19.
He is 33.
Oh, wow.
Jesus.
Okay.
Wow, he is old. Wouldn't you agree, Marcus?
He didn't want to go to jail for being awesome, I guess.
Yeah. They should have had. Someone should have mentioned to him the same line that Joey on Friends mentioned to Ross when he dated a college student. Of like, look, okay, the age gap may seem like a big deal now, but in a few years' time, when you're like 80, and he goes, yeah, I know, she'll be 70, and it won't be like a big deal. And Joey's like, no, that's not what I was going to say at all. He's like, oh, when you're 80, you're still going to have the memory of being with a 20-year-old. And Ross like, yeah, good point, and goes out with her. But yeah, the next mini story involves Brie with Daniel Bryan after his match, and she's like to the other girls, isn't my man like so cute? Isn't my man like so handsome? And why am I doing the voice? But and they're like, yeah, he's cute. You guys make a cute couple. Then we see Nikki with Cena shopping for handbags. I'm gonna reword that. We see Nikki and Cena shopping for handbags for Natalia, because it sounds like we see Nikki and Cena shopping for handbags. That sounded bad.
Together, or they just cut between the two of them.
Yeah. But Nikki then talks about Natalia only being with Tyson Kidd. And this bit's fucking hilarious. She talks about him only being with Tyson Kidd all her life. She's like, that's kind of weird. And she's like, if my family found out I was like Natalia and only being with one man, they'd be doing backflips. And Cena's like, yeah, it's okay. And he goes, oh, what do you mean your family would be glad by that? You're saying you're not like that? You're saying you're not, like, limited in your options of who you've been with? And she's like, can we not talk about this? And Cena's like, look, I'm just asking for a ballpoint figure. Tell me, is it anywhere in between 1 and 1,000? Which was hilarious, and her look is just wonderful. And obviously he said as a joke, he wasn't calling her a slut. While in Vegas, we also find out what Brie mode means. According to this, Brie mode means acting like a slut and getting drunk at a party. T-shirt available now on WWE Shop. But the Brie mode apparently means that. She's like, yeah, Daniel Bryan like hates me when I go into Brie mode, and she keeps mentioning Brie mode to the point I get sick of hearing Brie mode. But she says Bryan hates Brie mode, And then in something which is made me fucking howl with laughter and sort of reminded me of Anastasia Laserbeam playing Dishonored with how she mentioned the stealth elements. Bree says, yeah, Daniel Bryan doesn't like it, so I was sneaking back into my hotel room so he wouldn't notice, and then it cued a clip of her banging like fuck on the door, ringing the doorbell till he opens and goes hi and then walks in and cuffs him. It's like, none of this is stealthy. You're basically Fred Flintstoning it. Well, ma. It's like, no, this doesn't work. But when she wakes up, she's like, I don't know how to tell you this last night, Brian, but I was like in total Brie mode. And he's like, well, duh. You woke me up in the middle of the night and handcuffed me. I didn't think you did that because you were sober. And she's like, oh, you're not mad? And he's like, why would I be mad? You came to Vegas to have a party. You came to Vegas. You were at a party. I'm not mad. I only get mad when you go into Brie mode when we're at home. And she's like, oh, okay, cool. So, yay. Middle story that's completely inconsequential, but I really wanted to read the line of Cena asking Nikki Bella if she's been with 1 to 1,000 people.
Wait, so let me get this straight. Daniel Bryan has a problem when his wife becomes a slut at home.
Yes, because when she does it, like in the bedroom, she's handcuffing him up in the scene, and she's really pissed and getting sort of like, for lack of a better term, James on it. It's more of like a gym mode of she'll handcuff him and she'll get distracted by something shiny. So it's like, yeah, he kind of doesn't like that because she doesn't know what she's doing, and he has something we like to call a moral compass.
Fair enough. I didn't think she got into I don't know what I'm doing mode. I thought it was just pure slut mode.
Yeah, she starts to handcuff him with the cuffs, but when she cuffs both his hands together and says it's to the bedpost, which it clearly wasn't, and then she gets distracted looking through a box, and he's like, what the fuck are you doing? Take these cuffs off me. It was kind of hilarious. But when we cut to the main event, I can't believe I'm saying that, but the main event of Total Divas, the glue, if you will, that pulls this all together. Viva Las Vegas. It's the Bellas teaching the Funkadactyls to wrestle. The Funkadactyls cannot keep up with the Bellas learning to wrestle. They just can't do it, and even mention that they think the Bellas are so skilled at wrestling. Yeah, that made my notes because I thought, yeah, that okay. But and it's also important because of what happened next. During that, Natalya then shows up and agrees to go on a bachelorette party. And what were you gonna say, Jim?
I'm gonna say they can't keep up with the Bellas. Can we put them in the ring with Trish and Lita next week?
Yeah. Or Natalya.
Yeah, Natalya and Summer Rae.
Yeah. Natalya mentions Jarrett. We all remember him from last week, right? Right, guys?
Oh dear.
Yeah.
And she's like, I don't want to tell Tyson Kidd because he'll probably get mad. And the other Diva's like, well, of course he's going to get mad. I mean, you're talking to someone who's really cute. And she's like, yeah, but we work with cute guys all the time. He doesn't get mad. I mean, Fandango's cute. That was her actual defense. The Funkadactyl's boyfriend is mad that he can't go to the party. Why? And she mentioned it's not just you can't go. Eve Marie's boyfriend can't go either. They're not superstars. They're not in the business. And he's like, no, I want to go. And just walks off. More on him later. They then give Natalya a sash and a whip. Yeah, that made my notes. Totally hot. And they hang out at the pool together. Jarrett sends Natalya texts. Nikki's all mad. And Nikki says, I want to kick his ass. Yep. Nikki actually says, I want to kick his ass. How dare he keep trying to do this with someone who's going to be married? It's really inappropriate. And Natalya doesn't see that, and she's really mad at Jarrett. Yeah. But then we see him go to the Chippendales. I was really disappointed to find out it was male strippers, not rescue rangers, but still, Chippendales. And then they rope-tied Natalya, and Natalya then gets really hung up about the whole Jarrett stuff. Brie goes and has a one-on-one with her, telling her, look, it's great to feel wanted like Jarrett wants you, but Tyson Kidd's your love. Natalia starts to actually cry and break down, saying, but she's so afraid to seal the deal, yada yada yada. The Funkadactyl's non-wrestler boyfriend Vinny shows up, and he just seems completely drunk or high. Yeah. He's like always like, whoa, what's this? Yeah. He's like all like fucking 1,000 miles per hour mode. Like that squirrel or whatever it was on Hoodwink that had the caffeine. That's a reference I didn't think I'd be saying on this, but it's available now on Netflix US. My reference is now relevant. The party ends with a nice dinner, and the next day toast to the couple. During this, her boyfriend is a complete douche. Her boyfriend Vinny acted like a complete douche. I mean, she's a Funkadactyl, she doesn't deserve better, but it's a case of... wow, it's harsh, but yeah.
Wow.
He acted like a complete douche, and I swear this must be the editing, because no one could be this much of a douche and not realise why his girlfriend's offended. They cut a montage together of him going, babe, and then putting something in her face, like, babe, and rubbing her with candy floss. Babe, cake. Babe, drink. Babe, 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 babe. It's like, stop saying babe. Ooh. And then we cut to them two fighting and everyone discussing their fighters. They just walk off as she seems to have had enough of Vinny. I don't know, but next week apparently she has something important to discuss with Vinny, who looked really upset. I suspect there's trouble in paradise, babe. But that brings us to the end of Total Divas. But my thoughts with this was, I really didn't like the Vegas segment. The JoJo segment was sweet, Nikki, I've seen her handbag shopping and stuff, and Brie mode was kind of funny. But I understand they took the cast of Total Divas to this bachelorette party, and they let them go wild and have fun and film it like it was originally supposed to be and stuff, fair enough. But it becomes really glaringly obvious that this is for the point of Total Divas when Natalia, someone who's in a massive family, has a bachelorette party to celebrate her, and the only people at the event are Total Divas stars and their men. Yeah, something doesn't quite add up here. I don't know, that seems off to me. It would basically be like when Richter got married, if it turned out Richter was having a bachelor party and we were going to film it for the X-Pound and the only people there were us. You would be suspicious as fuck. But like I said, overall it was a pretty enjoyable one. It was a special. I liked how everything tied together and all the stories bled into each other. That was kind of fun, but like I said, overall not the best episode, but still fun. And yes, I am totally getting caught up in all their personal lives as they bitch and argue and like, oh no, poor JoJo, no, Justin Gabriel, you douche. Go do a 450 splash into oncoming traffic.
Wow.
I'm sorry, maybe that's a little harsh, but it seemed like he was going out of his way to lead her on and be a douche, but part of that could be editing. I'm not going to say he's actually a douche, but he's actually a douche. But back to our host.
All right, so after that, it's time for the news.
After that, as if you don't know how to describe it, it's just after that happened.
I just picture him like a highway, and he just comes out. He just does a 450 splash, and just like a bus just comes by and bow.
That's exactly what I was picturing. Was him doing it? You know, on those bridges to go over the highways. I was picturing him doing one off the top as the cars were coming down.
Nice.
And there's like Anastasia later to be, I got my new car. Nothing can go wrong.
Dumb.
Maybe that's what. Now we know.
Yeah, she got hit by Justin Gabriel doing a 450 splash into oncoming traffic. FYI, 450 splash into oncoming traffic will be available in the X-Pound store soon. As a t-shirt.
There you go.
Artists out there who are listening to this, if you'd make an animated GIF of this.
The front, 450 splash into oncoming traffic. Then on the back, just a picture of Richter's face with, that's not what Rick do.
There you go.
But yeah, over to like you said, sorry Rick, but like you said, over to whatever the hell it was, news or something.
Yes.
Yeah,
Over to
something irrelevant like that. Nobody gives a shit.
Well, considering you yourself at the start of this mentioned, lol, dirt sheets are not always accurate, and you don't claim this is real, this could all be lies.
Aha.
make
But
it
that's
up. Yep, no.
Yes! Yes! Oh my god, okay, you deserve this.
All right.
And I'm sorry, let's stop bullying Jim. We don't want him to lose his smile.
He has a smile?
He does, it's underneath his mustache. If you shave it off, he's actually got Joker face.
Okay then. Moving on to the news. Item number one, if you were paying attention to last week's news, you might remember that Jake the Snake Roberts experienced chest pains and collapsed on an airplane. Why are you laughing at people's pain, Mole? That's not nice.
I remembered Richter's snakes on a plane joke. It was
Yeah.
funny.
Fair enough.
And also, he's a druggie. It's kind of funny seeing him get his comeuppance.
Yeah. Well, anyway, basically, an update over the course of this the past week here, he has undergone a bronchoscopy because he still had problems with the pneumonia and fluid in the lungs, and they couldn't do anything else about the mass in his brain until they fixed the lung problem. So they used the invasive surgery to remove the phlegm and stuff in his lungs. He was still on the ventilator for a few more days, but he was able to talk, and he was telling jokes and messing with the nurses, so that was good. I
will say I'm glad he's got better. However, I will say the reason I giggled then is when you said bronchoscopy or something. That sounds like X-Pac trying to do surgery. It sounds like X-Pac trying to do surgery. Like, Bronco Buster, he's just going into town with surgery. I don't know why.
Okay then.
It's
Anyway.
like a dinosaur or something.
Yeah.
So anyway, so in an update, he was making progress faster than expected after they did that. They have him off the ventilator now, so he is okay after the surgery. Yeah, he was away. I should mention these updates are coming from a guy named Sinbo D. You might remember him better as Kazarni. He's a good friend of Jake Roberts and has been in the hospital with him posting these updates. He mentioned that today when Jake was awake, he was joking with the doctors and asked if they could give him fake boobs or at least a face transplant, and Jake smiled and gave him the finger, so Jake is being himself. So basically, so he's totally off the ventilator, so if he keeps up the pace, he won't need to go back on it. So basically, last night they took the bandage off of Jake's neck where they have the tubes in for his medications, and it was so unpleasant he had the pad they gave him to write things, and he wrote 3 letters. DDT. So, it'll be 24 to 48 hours while they monitor him off the ventilator and make sure everything's not going to get worse again. He's only allowed to have an IV drip for fluid. He can't eat or drink right now. But he is doing better. He joked that he would do anything for a donut if he had to. The nurses said still no to donuts, which Jake replied with his favorite gesture. I think he was trying to say you're number one, but I could be wrong. So one of Jake's sons flew out and is helping, and he's doing well. He's doing well. He's off the ventilator. He can't eat or drink yet, but he should be out of the hospital soon. After another couple of days, they test him to see what's going on, and we'll have another update on his condition next week.
And I will say, doing anything for a donut, isn't that how the Shadows More got started?
Pretty much. It's also how 90% of the episodes. It's also how 90% of the episodes of The Simpsons start.
Yep.
Let's see. Other news. Second piece of news, if you're a WCW fan, you might be happy to find out that nearly 100 hours of Monday Night Nitro have been added to it and are now available on the WWE Network. So check that out. What else we got here? I'm going to talk about this briefly. A photo from CM Punk and AJ Lee's wedding has leaked online. Punk is not happy about it. And he says that anybody who tweets the photo will be blocked by him. And, quote, and you're only blocked because I can't punch you in your something fucking faces. So I can't remember what the adjective was there, but yes.
I'll link below to the picture.
Yeah, no, I'm not a douche. I'm not a douche. I respect Punk.
You're not?
Funny. Moving on. Also, we had some criticism of Raw. On Twitter, Stone Cold Steve Austin, after watching Raw, made the tweet, "Please sell the headbutts at WWE #Raw. Please." So, commentary there. Next thing, it should be noted that NXT diva Veronica Lane, I don't know if you know who that is, Mole. But NXT diva Veronica Lane, real name Erica Hammond, has left the company. She's been signed since last spring of 2013, but has done mostly backstage interviews and some ring announcing, and she just recovered from a leg injury and decided to just call it a wrestling career right there and move on to other things.
Fair enough.
What else we got here? Also, if you're, it's been sold now, but if at any point you were looking for a lovely place to live, you might consider Brock Lesnar's $750,000 estate in Minneapolis that he has sold. I put this in here before it was sold. So the home was built in '96. It has 43 wooded acres in Maple Plain, Minnesota, heated pole barn, a storage barn, and a pond. It's 3,247 square feet of living space, has an updated kitchen, a pair of offices, 4 bedrooms, 3.5 baths. Lesnar paid $783,500 for it in April of '03, but was trying to sell it for $849,000, didn't get it. So, there you go. Moving along. Also, speaking of people that are in hospitals and having things done, Mick Foley noted via Facebook that on Thursday, this past Thursday, he underwent a back surgery. It was a minor procedure to reduce extreme pain he's been experiencing in his back. I can't imagine why.
Probably from carrying the rock for years.
Oh, there you go.
No, I'm sorry, Marcus. I'm sorry.
But I will say, only Mick Foley could pull the following off. Mick Foley, after the surgery, he went on and he posted the following on Facebook. He goes, "Here I was, rocking the fanny pack in the waiting room at the medical center this morning, looking forward to the first of several minor surgical procedures that will hopefully have me walking around in less pain than I've been in years. But for the next few days, I'll be flat on my back recuperating. And I would appreciate any well wishes from my friends right here at Facebook."
Nice.
Only Mick Foley can cheap pop Facebook. That was amazing.
Yep. Being flat on his back for a while, he's totally stole Kelly's gimmick.
Oh. Okay.
Thank you.
Also, quashing something previously speculated on the little dirt sheet, and had a pretty convincing picture to go with it, but apparently Sci-Fi Channel has released their fall schedule lineup, and SmackDown will be remaining on Friday nights, as opposed to moving to Thursdays like many believed it would be. Apparently on Thursday nights, they're going to have the show Haven at 8 p.m. and Spartacus at the Gods of the Arena at 9 and 10. SmackDown's going to remain at 8 p.m. on Friday nights, followed by episodes of the show Z Nation. So.
But I thought, and I don't mean because it was in the dirt sheet, I thought one of the sources for it was, I thought Jericho tweeted a picture of the van that mentioned Thursday.
A fan took a photo of the truck that did say Thursdays on it. Jericho took a picture of a different van to show off that, hey, my face is on the van.
Oh, okay, fair enough. I got that. Fair enough.
No, Jericho took a picture of a bunch of guys on the truck and said, hey, look, my face is on the truck. I'm very honored by this. Whereas some other fans saw the truck when he was at the arena and said, oh, get a picture of me in front of the truck, and it happened to say SmackDown Thursdays on it. So whether WWE is still planning to do this and it's not done yet, I don't know. Maybe the new year. I don't know. But
or Photoshop?
It could be Photoshop. Didn't look Photoshop. It's possible. But according to the Sci-Fi Channel release fall schedule, SmackDown is remaining on Friday. The second to last thing I want to mention here, again, this might be one you know more, but you might know recently NXT performer Solomon Crowe suffered a knee injury during an NXT live event. He revealed on Twitter that they had an MRI done and that he's not going to need surgery to repair it. He's just going to have to recuperate it for a while. So Solomon Crowe will be back in NXT soon.
Cool.
And finally, and thank you, Mole, for reminding me about this before the recording. Somehow I missed it when I was compiling the news. As mentioned, that the attorneys for one CM Punk have sent WWE a 22-page letter regarding payment for royalties for use of his likeness. Specifically, him being featured in the 2K15 video game, which he did not approve. The belief is that WWE stopped sending Punk royalty money over their claim that he breached his contract when he walked out on them. Therefore, if the contract is breached, it's null and void, and they don't have to pay him shit. As far as Punk's inclusion in the video game, apparently the roster of the game was put together before he left, even though they only announced it a couple weeks ago. So we'll see what happens here. I think the letter was just announcing, hey, Punk deserves these royalties, and basically saying if you don't give it, there's going to be lawsuits involved. I don't think it's an official lawsuit yet. but it's on the verge. And I can understand it going there based on the two arguments. Oh, well, Punk, you walked out and that breached your contract, so therefore your clause in your contract about royalties is also null because you voided the whole contract. Whereas Punk saying, no, you stole me for that contract. I didn't actually breach it when I walked out. So we'll see how that plays out.
Yeah, which if he did breach his contract, he isn't due royalties.
No, he's not.
However, either way, one of the things you forgot to mention is the fact a load of sites are including a load of the 2K ones, with people on the forums and stuff where people talk about is this lawsuit could possibly delay the game.
Yeah, if nobody's worried about the legal ramifications, the game could get pushed back. Although it's worth noting that they actually went through and they did remove Alberto Del Rio from the related story mode stuff. They didn't make enough time to do that at least. So.
Was he in any relevant story?
I don't know. They mentioned that from all of the story stuff or the universe, there was some aspect of the mode of the game they removed him. Maybe it was some mode of the game they removed him from. So I don't know. I don't know what mode it was. If it was the career or whatever. Maybe it was the career. I don't know. Something they removed him from.
I'd be pissed if I removed him from Universe. It's my game. It's up to me if I put him in Universe.
Well, it was probably career then. Maybe he was relevant in part of one of the storylines you go through in career, so they pulled him out of there.
Yeah, that makes sense. As long as they've replaced him with an existing person, because otherwise we just lost content.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I'd imagine they could get somebody else in there to do lines. I mean, if Del Rio was doing lines for this thing, they could probably easily get his lines replaced with, like, I don't know, The Miz or Mysterio or something.
Yeah, they could.
Just have Damian Sandow do it.
Yeah, Damian Sandow dressed as Alberto Del Sandow. Yes.
Alberto Del Sandow.
That was good. Anyway, so that is the news for the week, and yeah, we'll see what happens with the game. If there is a delay, that will certainly be on the news of the WXR. And we'll talk about that if we hear anything in the next couple of weeks. I hope it doesn't delay it because yep. Or XGR, yeah, because there's game relevance, so it could be there too. Stay tuned for Wednesday.
Or around the pound. Basically, watch all our shows. You don't know where the fuck it's gonna go.
Exactly. Anything is possible.
It'll come out of the crowd when you least suspect it.
Yep.
Tim, I'm surprised you're not going to mention the Russo stuff.
Oh, I should mention that. You're right. It should also be mentioned in the notes that Vince Russo wrote an open letter on his website to Vince, Stephanie, and Triple H, talking about the state of Raw, and that basically, I know, the irony, but irony of ironies, he made a valid point, and that he feels that he remembered back in the Attitude Era when they would go home and be physically sick if their absolute best that they could put out wasn't on the screen each and every Monday night, and he feels like that what he watched this past Monday on Raw is far from the best they could possibly put out, or at least he hopes it's not the best they could put out. And then he feels like they need to take a close look at what they're doing in themselves and think about, is this the best we could possibly put out? Can we possibly make this show better? Because he feels that it's not. He said it's not my place. I'm not working there anymore. I'm not backstage. But having worked with all three of you for years in the past and knowing the three of you, I know that you could put out better quality programming than this. This is not the level of quality that we used to put out back in the Attitude Era. This is not that level of quality that we used to have to put out week in and week out. You could do better than this, and I know you can.
To be fair though, the quality he used to put out was Jerry Springer like crap and ruining WCW. This is better than that.
True, but in all fairness, they took him to heart. Next week, Jerry Springer on Raw for the Bella Twins feud.
Yeah, I mentioned that to Rick, and you didn't know about that, I assume. Yeah, apparently they're bringing in Jerry Springer to mediate or moderate Nikki and Brady. So you can imagine where that's going to go.
Yep.
No.
I don't know.
They need Steve or Big Show dressed as Steve.
Yes.
Yes. Yeah. Big Show dressed as Steve. That would be perfect.
Yeah, and I will also say the other thing with the Vince Russo thing he doesn't get is times have changed.
Yeah.
Like during the Attitude Era stuff, even with WCW and stuff, no matter when either show was at their worst, they still got higher ratings than they did now because there was less channels. There was less competition and stuff. It's like, no, times have changed. And the other thing with, we're going to send people home if they weren't quite well enough to do it and stuff. Yes, because you were smacking them in the head with chairs, which caused more medical problems and normal shit. That's why it's banned now.
Pretty much. Also,
I just always think Vince Russo talking about wrestling because of it's almost like Cliffy B talking about games.
Yeah.
And she also mentioned in regards to Monday night that Nikki Bella sent out a tweet, quote, "I'm so happy Jerry Springer is coming this Monday to #Raw because I feel he will understand me and have Bree see the light. Enjoy #SmackDown. Kisses, Nikki."
But they share a Twitter account, so technically it could have been Bree pretending to be Nikki.
It could have been.
Bum, bum.
Twist.
Do they actually share a Twitter account?
They do.
They're at the Bella Twins or something.
It's at Bella Twins. And they call themselves Nikki and Bree, and it's a certified account.
It is. And they've retweeted and tweeted me before now, when I've sent them messages. Yay. I do like the Bellas.
Indeed. But anyway, yeah, so Vince Russo said you can find the letter. It's available online. It's available on his website, which I believe it's pyroandballyhoo.com is his official website. So feel free to check that out. The full letter is on there, and the open letter of Vince Russo to the McMahons. And all respect to McMahons and Triple H, if Vince Russo is writing you a letter telling you that your product is shit, you need to do something about that.
That's not necessarily true. Because Vince Russo was also the guy that was saying WWE was shit and tune into TNA as we outdo it. And then he was doing what everyone referred to as WWE Light, which has effectively killed TNA.
Yeah.
Vince Russo, promoter killer.
So he WCW'd it.
Yeah. I mean, how horrible is that when you think about it in hindsight, Rick? The talent of Vince Russo, and I'm using that in air quotes, had all that money to keep doing the shit he wanted to. Yet the actual talent for ECW of Paul Heyman had no money. Imagine if Paul Heyman had had Russo's money.
That would have been amazing.
Yeah, because like I said, Paul Heyman's only problem, besides insulting wrestling in UFC, had been the managing of money. Russo had amount of money, and he was definitely paying people. He was just more than happy to do the absolute bare minimum, as long as he can say, "I'm Vince Russo, I'm creating wrestling."
Yep.
It's like there's a person and they split him into two.
Yeah. And it's like Vince Russo's the guy that on the WWE, the WWE Monday Night Wars documentary, not the network one, the one they brought out on DVD. He was the guy that, like they mentioned, because I don't know if they're different, you see, because I haven't seen the network one. But yeah, just in case. But he was the one on the network that, like they mentioned, went up to Ric Flair and told him he didn't know anything about wrestling, and he was the guy that invented Stone Cold Steve Austin. And he was the guy that invented The Rock and stuff like that. And like Ric Flair and a load of other wrestlers like Nash and stuff on there commented they took one look and was like, yeah, whatever. Whatever, you're a joke. And then they're like, but we don't care because we're still going to get paid for this. It's up to you if you sink your own ship. Just keep believing your hype. And I'm like, yeah. Come on, you don't go up to Ric Flair and tell him he knows nothing about wrestling and you invented everything good in WWE. No, I don't think you did, Russo.
No,
I think you were involved, but you had other people helping you.
Actually, there's a more recent example better than that. Vince Russo has recently signed a deal with the website WhatCulture.com, where I get a lot of my lists that I read. And he's now writing a list about wrestling.
Source of evil.
So pretty much. And he wrote one of the lists that he wrote was a list of 10 things you didn't know about the Montreal Screwjob.
Was he behind it?
One of the things was it was my idea. I'm the one that gave Vince the idea, even though it's been documented by Shawn Michaels and countless other dudes that no, it was Triple H's idea.
It's been documented that, yeah, it was Triple H's idea, and it was also Triple H and Vince together as well on some of them. Some of them said just Vince, some said just Triple H, some said both together. Either way, no one said Vince Russo.
Vince Russo said Vince Russo.
And I guarantee you, if it was Vince Russo, Bret Hart would have walked the fuck out of WCW the second that it was announced Vince Russo was the guy in charge.
Yeah. Well, from what Vince Russo said in the article is that nobody knew that it was his idea until now when he's revealing this. Because here's the story he told. He said, okay, we were trying to... Bret refused to drop the belt, and we didn't know what to do. So me and Vince and Jim Cornette had a meeting at Vince's house. And we had this meeting, and we spent like 10 hours at Vince's house on this, like overnight, trying to figure out what the fuck can we do. Because Survivor Series is on Sunday. Or Survivor Series, right? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, Survivor Series 97.
Yeah. So anyway, so they're having this meeting at Vince's house, and they're trying to spitball ideas about different things. Then one idea, oh well, okay, what if there's like a what if Belt drops the belt to Shawn at a house show in the U.S. like the night before, and then Michaels defends it against Brett at the pay-per-view and successfully defends it. That way, Brett's not dropping the title in Canada. And they call Brett with the idea. Brett's like, no, it's not about me dropping the belt in Canada. It's about I'm not going to job to Shawn Michaels in Canada. And
Fair enough.
and basically, so they went back to the drawing board. And after 10 hours of working, they were like, God, they didn't know what to do, and they were exhausted and wanted to go home. And Vince was apparently just I was like, well, what if we have Shawn Michaels put him in the show and just ring the damn bell and act like he tapped out? And they kind of looked at each other, and Vince was like, you know what, we can't do this. Let's just everybody just go the hell home, and we'll figure this out tomorrow. And then Vince was like, well, normally Vince McMahon used to talk to me every day, but he didn't talk to me for like 4 days until the night of the pay-per-view. And me and Jim Cornette didn't know what was going on and what the finish of this match was going to be. And we went to the arena, we were watching the match, and I was sitting in the locker room watching the match, and I saw it happen. I'm like, that's my finish I suggested. Oh my God, if they knew I suggested this, they would kill me. And they knew that Vince Russo was part of the creative because he mentioned he was sitting next to The Undertaker, and The Undertaker just turned and gave him a death stare and just walked the hell out, supposedly. And I think who was it? Who was somebody else walked up to him? I think it was Foley walked up to him, and Foley walked up to him and started cursing him out or something. I can't remember. I don't know the thing up, but he walked down to him and think something about him being like a dirty son of a bitch or something. And like I think he went to punch him or something, but he didn't. And like whatever, I don't remember. But he told us yeah, this is. It was my spitballed idea, but I didn't know if Vince was going to use it until it happened that night or something like that.
No, which I would have to call a little bit bullshit, like we did, just because Bret Hart has a whole documentary about it. We've seen people discussing stuff. No one's ever mentioned that. Even wrestlers who have left WWE. Surely, at some point, wrestlers that have left when asked would have mentioned it was Russo and hung him out to dry like they would have, instead of hanging someone else. But I think that's a topic possibly for another night, because I believe this may have gone on too long.
Yeah, I think we're about good on this. Why don't you take us home, Hammy?
All right. So thank you for joining us for another WXR.
Oh, based on what we're planning to review tomorrow night, which is The Hand of God on Amazon Prime, I refer to you as the Ham of God.
Ham of God, I agree.
God. Okay. Well, thank you everyone for joining us for another WXR. We will see you next week with some more week in review for WWE and any other wrestling we happen to come across. Good night.